It's the first day of the 10th month of the year 2021. Welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, many hours of heavy rains in parts of the country renders many roads impassable. Heavy traffic due to flooding. We are live in the Bono region and other parts of the country, including Central Regional Capital Cape Coast, where the situation has forced schools to shut down. Patients on admission stranded as the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital gets its share of the flood waters. We have details from NADMO. Also, this afternoon, confusion rocks approval of Municipal Chief Executive Officer at WA in the Upper West region. 2 persons are in police custody for allegedly brutalizing an assembly member after a rejected ballot, which was later accepted. We have details plus bring you an update from other regions and hear from a local government expert who says the involvement of regional ministers is to blame for the rising tensions. Also, President Akufo-Addo has been warning criminals in the country. He says government will come strongly at them. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilo Affordable Safe Sanitation. We are also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Danana Aisha. I'm super excited to host you. Please be my guest. Many thanks for choosing us. We begin with many parts of the country today experiencing heavy rainfall, with some regions enduring up to 6 hours of the downpour. Roads have been rendered impassable with its resultant heavy traffic in the capital, Accra. The central region has been hardest hit, forcing authorities to shut down schools. The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital was not spared. Some wards have been flooded, leaving patients on admission stranded while health personnel struggle to attend to them.
Look at Abra Stadium Junction. This is Abra for you. It's not Maccabian to pass. When you is fit time at 1. It's not Abra for Junction. It's a Bufuma local Stadium Junction. Baby, man. You soon can't look at the Stadium Junction. All the police is inside. Baby. Passengers now since come on the phone. Caribbean combat is going far for. I won't remember Shifie. I won't maybe I remember Shifie.
It's been about 8 hours of downpour in Cape Coast and parts of the central region, and it has had a devastating effect. Many homes are flooded, our streets are flooded. School children were not permitted to go to school because the school authorities said that they feared that something untoward may happen, and so they all issued statements to the effect that the students should not go to school. On the street, many roads had to be diverted because some of them got heavily flooded and they didn't want to risk it. NADMO authorities and city authorities have been in the rain looking at the possible causes of the flooding situation here. As you can see where I'm standing, the place is heavily flooded, and so people have had to pump their waters from their rooms. Even at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, the COVID-19 treatment center got flooded, and so the patient there had to be taken to the holding bay for continuous treatment. And so It's been a very, very sad day for the people here in Cape Coast, and as we speak, the waters appear to be receding, but we also see signs of the rains, coming back again, and speak with some of the people around.
So the new building over there has choked the access for the water to flow. So due to that, the new building blocked the flow to go. So due to that, the water have to pump into the individuals' houses. That has caused a very harm to us. And one of my landlord and my sisters, the television, the bed, certificate, everything spoiled. Everything spoiled. And then you can see there's a new building also there. That one too, it has choked, it has blocked the access of the flow to go. So due to that one, so it has been another disadvantage for us. So the best thing for us to do is either the government will come into our aid so that they will compensate that man and then they will destroy that building over there. And also, they have to stop PPAG people to build that a new facility over there. That one will help us, the people staying in this area. That will be the best option. If they stop building that new building and also demolish that new storing building, the water can flow easily and then everyone will have his own peace here.
Lamado. Bye 2:30 na mse den so na oton kaka ntim den ntonye too much biara. All of us said me shede na mti push me dey bomba. No so na abede mu ho ntin so wa se obia nyina ye areas wa se bia nyama obia nyama se we area ha hwenso ala nkofo wa sesaw hwenkofo ala mu dem ho sa me nko ba ya ro ho papa ye ogine hoi ni dem obia la ntin so no mama bo no papa because this ya dey mom brother ya go nso easy wa se nyama nyina la ntin so
flood all over. Flood all over. I think it was around 10 o'clock when the water started, midnight 10. That's when the rain started. We thought it was going to subside throughout the night. It was around 4 o'clock when I woke up, then I met this surprise. Yes. So it's flood all over.
Is it something that it has happened before?
Yes. 2009, it happened. Similar thing happened, and I was one of the victims. About 150 feet of wall. My wall broke that time. At that time, too, the development was not as it is today. Today we have gutters, we have roads, and so. But the problem has to do with encroachment on the waterways. Encroachment because this place is actually earmarked for a gutter. But if you go closer, you will see that it's been encroached by one developer whom we don't know. Yeah. So that is actually the main cause of the problem.
People supposed to work. People who are paid by the taxpayers' money supposed to work. They should be found on the field working, not sitting in office. You can have whatever degree, but you should be seen on the field working. Come to the area, assess the problems there, and then offer solutions. Not sitting in your office and writing English, but come to the field and solve the problem. Yes, the landowner has a say, but in having a say, the nation also has a say in making sure that things are done and are done right. It's not what we think that it's my land, so I can sell, even where it is road and people are selling. That is the issue here. The issue here has to do with the landowner selling every area, every space that you find, you want to sell. Every space that you want to find, you want to sell. And so you have sold all, including the waterways. Welcome, sir. My name is Dankwa Smith Joseph.
The only thing that can help us, not here only, but the whole Ghana, what we have to make sure that where there is a waterlogged place, they don't sell the land to people. We should think for the future, not right now. There are some people, land owners, they just because of what they will get to solve their problem just right now, they sell the land to people and it will create problem for the next future people. So we have to make sure that if a place is known to be where water or flood area, we don't sell that land to people. Because if you look at around, there are so many places people have started building their houses, of which they know that that place is a flooded area, and it causes such problems for us.
It would actually work.
Yeah, you see, when it comes to demolition, you see, all powers is invested in the building inspector. Building inspectorate to ensure that this thing is removed. I cannot go there and remove it. If I dare do, some charges will be preferred against me. When I go to court, the judge will ask me, are you the building inspector? I will say no. Why do you go and remove it? And so it beholds on when the contractor encountered this problem, the contractor has to report to the building inspector. Then the building inspector takes all the powers invested in him by the local government to enable him to demolish those things. So that
The Ghana National Fire Service had to break into homes, create access in order to rescue them. ACFO1 John Amalai Amate is the regional director of the Ghana National Fire Service.
They could not have access, so we needed to break through some of the buildings to allow the waters to gush out from some homes. Some we needed to break walls to allow water flow out of the houses into some drainage. And then one other thing we had to do was to rescue family members from trapped rooms and use rescue lines to transport them from their places of abode to places of safety. That is what we have been doing. And in some other aspects, we needed to be priming water from stagnant areas, and it was terrible. It's terrible. The extent, the magnitude of the flooding this year, is far more than what we have experienced. And even where we didn't know to be flooding, this time around, to our amazement, we saw that we're getting flooded. Obviously, you can see from where we are talking about that it is because we have built along waterways, and we have also built in places where we are not supposed to. I think that we need to ensure that we get permits from appropriate authorities before we put up our buildings. And we shouldn't think that, when I get the land or my site at a flood area, once I have my finances and I think I can develop that particular place and build, thinking that nothing will happen, we lie to ourselves, because the time will test us, and the time is the rainy season. And when it comes like this, it will not be good for us. It's really terrible. The water level was as low from our stomach, and we didn't even know how safety it was for us to get to the appropriate place where we could even break for the water to gush out.
Now, let's bring in a Central Region correspondent, Richard Kwejo-Nyakun, who is our man in the Central Region monitoring for us. What's the current situation, Kwejo, on the situation, including the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital that had its fair share of the rainwater?
They have been working fervently to ensure that they put the place back in order. Currently, it's a sunny day. But the day did not start as a sunny day. Just around 11 a.m. We started, the rain started receding, and so things are getting back to normal. But people are counting their losses because it's had an inestimable damage to properties of residents here. If you look at the COVID-19 treatment center at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital and other facilities within that particular space, a lot of havoc were caused there. And so they had to relocate the patients that were at the treatment center to the holding bay for them to continue treating them. And so it's been really a sad day for the people. The people have built along water courses. So if you see, some people have started aggressive development at the areas such as Abra, at the Sadal, Peidu, and the University of Cape Coast, where when there is flooding every year, the roundabout there, so they had to actually divert the course of the vehicles that were moving. And so it resulted in a lot of huge vehicular movement there. So people could not even get access to their homes. People that went
for night duties and the others, they couldn't have access. That is beyond the schools shutting down, because in the morning it was very dangerous for even adults to just walk in the rain, because you don't even know where to even step. The vehicles were almost drowned by the floods. And so it's really something that the people of Cape Coast say that they have not seen in years.
Now, you've been engaging the National Disaster Management Organization. What have they been telling you?
So as usual, they were on the ground as early as 6 a.m. to assess the extent of damage and to help the Ghana National Fire Service to actually direct residents who were already in the rain. They actually had to go there to support them to do their work. But they have been coming out with some preliminary observations. And so we spoke with the Deputy Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization in the Central Region, and he's been telling us more about what they intend to do when the rains subside.
For now, we have able to get to the scene, and through our assessment, we've realized the causes of this rain is not from where we are standing now. It is from where the contractor who constructed this road, took his sand from, or his materials from, that has paved the way for this rain to affect this area. So my officers, the rescue team, they are in the various houses trying to rescue those who have stuck in the room. So that is what we are doing now. And for us to even pump the water into the various homes, we cannot do it now because the water has not stopped flowing. We have to give some time for water to settle down before we try to pump the waters that has entered into the various houses. Those buildings in the waterlog, I can say that those who built or bought the land, they knew they are building in the waterland. So for now that they have seen the affection of the rains, I think those people who are yet to buy the land will, take this as an example, not to buy the land from the waterlog. And the advice is now, just when the water has settled, we'll go to the various houses to assess their belongings, their goods or belongings that has spoiled. So for now, that is what we can do for now, unless the water settle down, so that we can able to enter the various houses to see what we can do as NADMO officers. Just after we have gone to assess the various affected place, that is where we can know where to demolish or where not to demolish. But for now that the rain has not stopped, we can never. To the residents here, they have not experienced this type of flooding before. Yeah, that is what I was saying, that the causes of this flood is the contractor who constructed this road, and where he took his materials to construct the road has paved the way of the water to cause this. I am advising the general public that now that they've seen the rains coming, they try to, they should try to find some place, or even with the NADMO, when such things occurs, we have a place called Haven. That is where we try to rescue the affected staffs, the affected persons to, in the meantime, settle there. We have able to get some school buildings or church buildings where we will take all those affected to that place in the meantime to just be comfortable now. But
of the NADMO, the National Disaster Management Organization in the Central Region, Ponsa, telling residents what would be done after the floods recede. And so for now, that is what they are able to say, even though usually when it happens like that, that is what they come to say, that people that have built along water courses, along the waterways would be dealt with, they would demolish A, B, C, D. But when finally the sunshine is here, they see nothing. And so that's what is happening.
So how are the residents coping, Kojo Nyako?
Well, so the residents are hoping that there wouldn't be more rains now because they've been badly hit, they've been badly affected, they've lost some items to the floods, and so they are hoping that things would be done. But this time, the magnitude of the floods has been in such an extent that they said that for years they've never seen something like that before, because if you go to places like Abra, the Cape Coast Sports Stadium area, the Cape Coast Technical University, the Nat Hall at the Cape Coast Technical University area, all these places got flooded. And it's been a yearly affair, but this time round, it looks as if that the magnitude was to a huge extent, and so they couldn't cope anymore. So they are hoping that city authorities would now be able to assert their power and the authorities that have been given them to pull down the structures that have been put on the waterways, so that when it rains, they would not experience something of this nature.
Kojo Nyako is our correspondent in the central region. Let's move to the Bono East region now, where scores of school children in the Kintampo North municipality of the Bono East region are currently out of school after torrential rains washed away part of the road network linking the Kintampo township to several communities in the eastern part of the municipality. The situation has heavily affected education in the area, as teachers living in Kintampo are unable to attend to schools beyond the Oyoko River. Correspondent Anna Sabit was in the area and has filed this report.
Scenes of school-going children loitering along the Oyoko River is a common phenomenon since the collapse of a temporary bridge along the Kintampo New Longoro Road. As torrential rainfall washed away parts of the bridge, the situation has affected economic activities in general, including education, as teachers staying in Kintampo are currently unable to attend schools beyond the collapsed bridge. We've been engaging some of these children on why they are currently not in school. We are home because our teachers are not in school due to the collapse of the bridge. We've been home since Monday, and we are calling on authorities to fix the road so we can go back to school. Mensa Matthew is the head teacher of Tandigne MA Basic School. He says the school is currently closed down because teachers of the school cannot risk their lives crossing the river to the school.
In fact, all my teachers are residing at Kintampo. And because of the flooding of the river, we couldn't, or the teachers cannot bypass. Because if you look at the situation right now, in fact, if you are crossing, it is very dangerous. So all my teachers are not cannot come to post.
Another teacher, Sheikh Isa Yahya, a teacher at Mo Nkwanta SDA GHS, says education in general has been heavily affected, with final year pupils staying home due to the situation.
We just came here to look whether we can pass to our destiny, and up to now we've seen nothing has been done. So we don't know when the road will be fixed for us to move to our station to teach the students. Now most of our students are over there. If God willing, they are to write their final paper on November. But as I'm speaking now, teachers cannot move from Kintampo to the other side.
Again, another area that has been heavily affected has to do with healthcare delivery. Pregnant women and sick people who are to be referred to the Kintampo government hospital are unable to get to their destination because of the situation. This, according to them, is heavily affecting healthcare delivery in the area. When one is pregnant and is in labor, we can't get the person to the hospital due to the nature of the road, and this is affecting us. I lost a sister a few days ago, and we had to go through Tichiman to get to Kintampo. Imagine the cost involved. and pregnant women, we can't even talk about it, so we beg for assistance. For the assembly member for Asante Kwa Yabraso electoral area, Ajimandia, his major concern has to do with how the situation is affecting healthcare in general, with healthcare workers staying in Kintampo being cut off from their various CHIPS compounds beyond the bridge. Our major hospital is in Kintampo, and when we are to convey a pregnant woman to the hospital, it's going to be a major problem for us. So it's a major challenge for all of us. The people say this road has been under construction since the year 2012, and as we speak, there's no sign that the road is going to be completed anytime soon. All they are calling on authorities is to ensure that the contractor is ordered to return back to site and complete this road in record time to save them from the current situation. Yeah, so from the road network linking the Kintampo Township to New Longro, my name is Anas Sabit reporting for JoyNews.
My colleague Anas Sabit joins me via phone from the Bono East region with more. Anas, what's the latest on the situation?
As you speak, the situation is same. We know authorities. I know the newly confirmed MP, the Member of Parliament for the area, and the regional minister have all been to the ground. The regional minister confirmed to me that he met the contractor, and the contractor has promised to hasten the work on that stretch to ensure that it is more trouble, so people beyond the bridge can have access to the municipal capital. However, some 3 days after that assurance, the situation has not improved, and for 1 week now, school-going children are home. We don't know what will happen going into next week, but like I said, the situation is still same, and there's no sign of improvement from the assurances given by the contractor.
Now, earlier we were told that hundreds of people living in the Kintampo North municipality were stranded after the major road network linking some communities to the township were destroyed, and because of the continuous rains from the Oyoko River. So at least 40 communities along Kintampo New Longoro area have been entirely cut off, affecting education, health and economic activities in the area. The road, which has been under construction since 2012, has seen little attention over the past years, and residents are appealing to authorities to intervene swiftly to save the people. And as generally, what can you say about the distraction by the Oyoko River? I mean, aside school children not being able to go to school.
Aisha, the point is, Kintampo municipality is a vast area. We have the eastern part and then the western part. Several communities are along the western part and eastern part, and it is predominantly a farming area where these farmers, who are producing most of the food items that are being consumed within the area, stay. As I speak to you now, their farm produce are locked at the various farms. They are unable to bring them to the Kintampo market. On Wednesday, they had to stay away from the market because of the situation. And on healthcare delivery, most of the health workers in these settler communities, because of accommodation, are staying in the Kintampo township. And so as it stands, these people are not risking their lives trying to cross the river to provide healthcare to those in these communities. So life in general, almost everything is being affected in the area: economic, health, education, and almost everything that they are doing beyond the Oyoko River is currently at a standstill. And this is a sort of worry for the people. They are appealing to the roads ministry in particular to order or instruct the contractor or have other contractors, assigned to the area to ensure that something is being done about it swiftly to save them from what they are going through currently.
Anas Sabit is our correspondent in the Bono East region. Here in Accra, my colleague with our sister station Adom TV, Nanaya, visited some communities at the Odona area earlier today and spoke to some motorists.
Now, the issues relating to flood in Ghana or in Accra have become something that we have become acquainted to each and every year. And whenever it rains, we know that there are always flood. Now, when you come to the Avena Junction, the situation here is that there is flood here, and then the traffic is mounting. From the time we got here, you could see that the traffic is mounting here. Now, the situation has been that there is a bigger drain that is supposed to carry this water to its location. But now the situation is that the drain have been destroyed. Now it is very difficult for this water to find its way into the bigger drain wherever it is coming from. So the situation on the ground is that now the water has found its way onto the road. And so the drivers who are particularly using this road are finding it difficult to tread on the road. Now, the situation is that because they are finding it very difficult, there is a heavy traffic on this particular stretch when you are moving from the industrial area heading towards Circle. The issues have been that even from Kaneshi to Circle, it is very difficult for you to walk freely or to drive freely on the stretch. Drivers we interact with earlier says that it has become something they talk about each and every year, and as such they are not willing to talk to the media again because they don't know or they've not seen any improvement from the previous year since they have been talking about this situation each and every year when it happens. And as such, they are not ready and willing to talk again. But some of the pedestrians who use this road, we would love to interact with them and then ask them as to how they find it difficult to plow this road each and every year. Let me talk to this driver. Like I said before, most of them are not ready and willing to speak to the media. But let me just talk to my brother who have been in traffic for some time now because of this particular rain. Boss, let me ask you, I know you have been in traffic for a while. What is the situation like?
Actually, I'm coming from Kaswa, and you know our situation with the Kaswa Road. So I've been in traffic for almost 1 hour, getting to 1 hour 30 minutes. But then I hope something can be done about the roads, and if other roads we can get access routes to other places, then.
Okay, so Israel, just like I was saying, the situation is not comfortable at all here. You could see where I am really standing, just in the flood as I speak to you. I'm standing here and you can see the situation for yourself. Probably nobody needs to just describe it for you. You could see what is really happening here. And it is just not here, but when you use the other stretch of the road where you are leading to the ECG office, the place is just flooded. So people who are ready to even access the ECG office will find it very, very difficult because the entrance to that particular office has been flooded and drivers are finding it difficult just to use that access or to use that particular stretch of that road. So the situation is uncomfortable. Drivers are complaining. Pedestrians are also complaining because it is very difficult for you to cross to the other side, especially so when you are putting on a shoe. You need to pull off your shoe to be able to cross the flood to the other end so you can go to wherever you want to go. But for the drivers, it is becoming a huge problem because they've been in traffic for almost an hour and more, and they have not seen any improvement from the previous years when they have been talking about this particular situation. So Israel, this is really the situation on the ground from Avena Junction.
And you're still live on The Pulse. You can tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Danana Aisha. You can also join on via all our social media handles. But still to come on The Pulse, confusion rocks approval of Municipal Chief Executive Officer at WA in the Upper West region. 2 persons are in police custody for allegedly brutalizing an assembly member after a rejected ballot, which was later accepted. We have details for you shortly after this break. Welcome back to the Pulse. Now, the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all over the world, governments and various institutions are drawing up programs to sensitize people on breast cancer. But this year's celebration comes amidst a pandemic. The West African Center for Cell Biology and Infectious Pathogens, which has played a crucial role in the fight here in Ghana, is rolling out a program to support breast cancer. And joining me in the studio for more on this is Dr. Lily Pemka. She's lead cancer researcher at WACBIP. Good to see you. And Miss Elizabeth Imbrira is research assistant at WACBIP. Good to see you, all of you ladies, and happy October or Breast Cancer Month to you. Now, let's start with you, Lily. What's this? Why are you so interested in breast cancer at this point? Okay. Because we know WACBIP, do research into what? Sequencing and all of that. Where is breast cancer coming in here?
So, I'm a human molecular geneticist, and I work on breast cancer. And breast cancer is a genetic disease, so obviously that's why I work on it. Okay. So Nuforfest is actually not new. It's been in existence since 2018. So this is actually the 4th year it's been run. And the reason I'm interested in breast cancer advocacy is the fact that the key to treating breast cancer is early detection. But when you look at Ghanaian women, over 80% of these women present at really late stages, stages 3 and 4. And at that point, survival is precipitously very low. And so it counts for the high mortality rate that we see in the country. In other countries, it's about 17%. But when you look in the Ghanaian population, it's about 50%. In 2020, it was about 48%. And it's partly due to, actually largely due to the fact that they go to the hospitals late. And at that point, the breast cancer has already spread. So for me, just conducting research in isolation wasn't sufficient to curb this, issue. So in 2018, we decided to add, breast cancer advocacy, so there could be a more immediate effect, on the fight, in the fight against breast cancer. So it's to raise breast cancer awareness, so these women are aware that it's a disease. So once they detect any abnormalities in their breast, they then seek early help, because the WHO clearly states that the key to treating breast cancer successfully is early detection. Okay,
Elizabeth, tell me, let's talk about your research project. I want you to tell me a bit about, what you've been finding in your research.
Okay, so Dr. Pamka is actually my supervisor. So
okay.
She has this broad research theme under which graduate students at WACBIP at the Department of Biochemistry, Cell Molecular Biology, where we undertake various projects. So part of that involves investigating the role of certain molecules in and their role in cancer. We do human genetics research. We also do in vitro research just to help us to explore the role of certain molecules like I mentioned, as well as microorganisms, and their role in breast cancer.
Dr. Pemka, you want to add on to what you've been finding out in those researches?
Okay, so far, what we do there is to, like she mentioned, sequence. Like I said, breast cancer is a genetic disease. Yeah. And there's a vast disparity when it comes to research and then treatment, post-treatment care between developed countries and other parts of the world. And because breast cancer is a genetic disease, and when it comes to genetic disease, it does present with racial and ethnic variations. We all get breast cancers, but when it comes to different populations, there's some peculiarities that we need to explore, especially if we want to, identify targets that could be druggable to help treat our population. Because most of the research in breast cancer are done in Caucasian populations. And like I said, it's genetics. So there are certain differences. So we can't always just, copy and paste certain treatments. So my plan is to conduct genetic studies, sequence genomes of women who have breast cancer, and identify these peculiar mutations or variations that are predisposing Ghanaian women to breast cancer. Okay. And so that's what my lab does. We also, like she mentioned, we also do some validations. And so we've done some sequencing. We're still analyzing some data. And we've done several other studies to characterize already known targets that have been identified. And also, we also even test certain compounds for anti-cancer properties. So that's basically what I do.
Okay, so what's Nuforfest? And I mean, how did you even come by this?
So Nuforfest, so like the name suggests, is breast in Nufu, in tree.
Okay.
And when it came to identifying, the logo and everything, and as you can see, it's basically breast. So I talked to one of my friends to design a logo, and he came up with other names. But then I thought about the use, which would represent a more normal, natural-looking breast. So then that's how Nufu came about. Okay. But then the story behind is that when I was preparing my proposal, I noticed that from the literature review that most women present late, right? And because of that, we needed to raise awareness. And that's why I decided to focus on that. I know I've already spoken about that. That's how come Nuforfest came about. And it's mostly about celebrating breasts. Breasts are key, intricately tied to our existence as human beings, because babies receive complete sustenance from breast in the form of breast milk.
Okay.
And so we try to put a fun spin on raising awareness by, celebrating breasts. And once you appreciate these breasts, then you tend to take more care, of them. So that's how Nufu, we try to, approach breast cancer advocates.
Make it attractive.
Yes.
Making it Nuforfest.
Yes.
So how different is Nuforfest from all other breast cancer campaigns, Elizabeth?
I guess the way we've packaged the festival, it's such that, we have it over a period. So let me take this year, for instance. We are doing it over about 3 days at different times.
Okay.
And formerly in the past, we had free screening where you have tons of women at the various areas that we went to hold these outreaches. And you realize that they are really impacted. Some, you have lumps detected, and then they are referred to hospital facilities for further investigations and treatment. And besides that, we also have we include, as part of the awareness, we distribute tracts and we share information, and you realize that the public generally, some portion of the population that we come to engage with, they really do not have much information about it. So you realize that it has a lot of impact in their life, besides the fun that we have during these occasions. Yeah, I'm sure.
So it's over 3 days. She mentioned 3 days, but this is spread over the entire month. So it's the entire month, but then we have specific events at different locations. This year we're going to be at Tema Station, Legon Campus, and also at the mall, actually 4. But then we're going to be raising awareness the entire month. But then we have this, events where we go and interact with the public, and then we're also going to be giving out COVID tests, free COVID tests as well, in light of the ongoing pandemic.
And talking about COVID, how has COVID impacted breast care?
Well, it has significantly. I saw an article, I think a couple of days ago on BBC, where it says that even in the UK, there's a backlog as far back as that's going to take 10 years to catch up. So in our part of the world, first of all, because of the ongoing pandemic, and of course we also have resource restraint. So we already resource constrained. So sorry, not restraint, constrained. So we don't have. So having all these people, come to the hospital is actually taking up space that's supposed to be used for, surgeries or taking care of these women. I know at a point some of the surgeons even caught COVID, especially at the early part of the pandemic. So some of these treatments are delayed and put on hold, and it can cause progression of the disease. So when it comes to the actual treatment, then it's a little bit more difficult. Now, when it comes to research in parts of the world, there's very limited research that's assigned to cover breast cancer research.
Okay.
And now breast cancer is really low on the priority list, and it's dropped a little much further. Because when it comes to COVID is #1 practically in the world over.
Yeah.
And most of the funds also come from foreign agencies. And now they've reassigned their funds to COVID. And even some of the funds that are still coming to this part of the world are now being, assigned to for COVID research.
Okay. So why should men be bothered about breast care? Because, I mean, in all of this, you're asking men to also join in the campaign to create awareness. Why should they be bothered?
So sadly, a lot of men are under the impression that they don't get breast cancer because they don't have big breasts.
Okay.
But men do get breast cancer. And although it's a bit rare in their group because they account for about 1% of all breast cancer cases. But they do get breast cancer, and unfortunately, it's actually higher in men of black ancestry, and partly due to genetics, but it's a bit higher in their population. And men tend to even die a higher chance of dying from breast cancer because they don't really check, because they don't expect to get breast cancer, so they don't take measures to even check their breast. So men need to check. So, and as a black man, like I said, they have a higher risk of getting breast cancer. So they do need to take care of it.
So you were talking about how COVID has affected breast cancer care. I'm sure it also affected campaigns as well.
Yeah.
Now, who are your sponsors in this Nuforfest?
So,
and I think Elizabeth should do that for me.
Okay, so before I answer, let me just add something to concerning the men. I mean, I believe we are all connected. Men, they have children, some have children, they are also sons, they are fathers. So I'm sure one way or the other, in addition to what Dr. Pemka has said, I mean, they may have friends who have been affected by the disease. So it's important that they are equally also concerned to help raise awareness and also educate themselves.
Because it's their sisters, wives, daughters, and grandmoms and mothers and all that.
The very people around them who are affected, they can offer some support based on the knowledge that they have. So coming back to your question on the sponsors, we've been blessed to have people come on board in the past. Currently, in this year, we have sponsors, Yimachi. We also have... sorry.
Okay, so you want to help her?
So we have, so the main sponsor all these years has been WAGBIP. Yeah, WAGBIP has been the main sponsor. And this year we have Yimachi, which is a genomics company involved in cancer, in a bit to promote or accelerate biomarker detection and precision medicine and cancer detection, early detection and whatnot. And then we also have the Organization for Women in Developing World. And I have a grant, a breast cancer grant to them, and part of the grant is covering part of the event. And also we have Precision Medicine. It's a lab in the US, a Ghanaian who's based in the US, and they're currently helping out. And we are open to new sponsors if they're willing to.
Okay, so let's take a break and then come back and wrap up this interview. Welcome back to the Pulse, and Dr. Lily is here with me. Elizabeth is also here with me. How do benevolent people who want to support this campaign, what can they do?
So they can reach out to us. I don't know if you have our details here, but if they can contact WAGBIP and they would connect them with me.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
I don't know
you
if you have
so much for the good job you're doing. It's Breast Cancer Month. All of us need to get on board. So your activities, you outlined them, but exactly when is this starting? When is it ending? Where can we also be part if we want to join?
Okay. So the first event is on the 7th of October at the Tema Station. And then the next one will be on the 13th, which is No Bra Day.
Okay.
So we want to...
we'll have to take off our brand.
Yeah, we are welcome.
Pictures.
Yeah,
and post
nice.
Or come there with without brand.
That'd be great. And then you just tag us. Yeah, we'd like to see that. So yeah,
interesting.
We want to take advantage of the the hype that's raised around No Bra Day. Everybody gets excited about breast. And then on the 13th, that's going to be at the ANC Mall. And on the 16th, that's going to be at the Accra Mall. And then finally on the 28th of October, it's going to be on campus, University of Ghana campus.
Okay. All right. So if you want to join Tema Station, ANC Mall, and then
Accra Mall,
and
then Legon campus.
So viewers, if you want to join this, and don't forget the no bra there. You can take off your bra, take a picture, and tag them,
me,
right?
Yes. Not just me. Anyone
It's Nuforfest Day, and thank you so much, Dr. Lily Pemka. She's lead cancer researcher at WACBIP, Miss Elizabeth Mberba. She's research assistant at WACBIP. I'm grateful for your time. And there was confusion actually and drama at the Municipal Assembly Hall, where assembly members converged for the confirmation of President's nominee Isahako Tahiru Momin. The confusion came following after counting of the ballots, which the nominee polled 29 instead of 30 votes required for his confirmation. After careful scrutiny of a vote that was rejected, the Electoral Commission, however, made a U-turn, declaring it as valid vote, increasing the vote of the nominee to 30, resulting in a confirmation for another 4-year tenure at the Assembly. There was chaos, and 2 persons were arrested by the police for allegedly slapping one of the Assembly members. We'll be in touch with our correspondents across the country shortly for updates of the confirmation of MMDCs. But first, here's JoyNews' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam with a report from WA.
For many in the WA municipality, the renomination of Isahako Tahiru Momin as WA mayor came as almost shock and disbelief, considering the alleged corruption tag that has been repeated severally and hung on his neck by his opponents. Furthermore, the wedge between him and a section of MPP supporters, and above all, the cat and mouse relationship between him and West Central Constituency Chairman Ali Kamara, failed to dim his political career, and his name was once again dangled in front of the 45-member assembly to decide his fate. The tension that filled the 18-yard length assembly hall epitomizes the deep-seated rift and division at the assembly. As a result, there was heavy police presence inside the hall and outside. The voting, sorting, and counting of the ballots went on peacefully. However, it was the same with the announcement of the results.
A choice has not been made on this particular ballot, so it is therefore declared rejected ballot. One rejected ballot.
There were counter-arguments from bleeding-heart defenders of the president's nominee, insisting that the ballot that was rejected was valid for them and that the nominee has gotten the 30 votes required for his confirmation. It led to confusion and altercation, resulting in the assembly member for the Dego residential area allegedly slapped by one Admuda. Admuda was quickly arrested by the police. Another unidentifiable person was also arrested by the police as a result of the ensuing confusion. The Electoral Commission, however, made a U-turn and the results declared.
The yes votes were 30, representing 66.7%. The no votes were 15, representing 33.3%. Rejected votes 0, and by these results, the president's nominee, in the person of Honorable Alhaji Isahako Momin Tahiru, is confirmed and declared as the honorable member for the assembly.
One municipal director of the Electoral Commission, Bernard Alaglo, further explained why.
The intention of the voter is clear. He did not make any mark on the no column. It was just a stain outside the territory of what is required of us. If a mark was made at no column, at the same time hot, yes column, then it would have been hot, a complete rejected ballot.
There was not much excitement outside the hall, which is arguably a reflection of the township. The re-election of Isahako Tahiru Momin, for some, is seen as a pirate victory and he himself is already aware and has sounded apologetic after he was confirmed.
And I've opened the doors already for those who feel that my first tenure has not been so much good for them, that they should come in. And I'm ready to improve upon what happened in the previous period to bring everybody on board.
Early at Dundom, 36 assembly members converged at the assembly hall to take part in the exercise to confirm the president nominee, Raymond Nero. Raymond Nero is a 40-year-old teacher at St. John's Technical Institute at Nandom. Afterwards, Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, who introduced the nominee, pleaded with the assembly members to vote for him for the speedy development of the municipality. Out of the 36 assembly members who took part in the exercise, only one declined his confirmation, giving him 97.2% of the votes cast. His counterpart at Lambuse, however, did not go through the sweat for his confirmation.
Let's do the sacrifices that we can to resolve the developmental challenges of our district. Poverty is our opponent. Hunger is our opponent. Malnutrition is our opponent. There are lots of opponents in this district that we all have to resolve to fight.
All 36 members voted to confirm the 39-year-old mathematics tutor of Peanut Secondary Technical School, George Gerald Naluri, for the DC of the area. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
And let's get some updates from our correspondents across the country. Precious Semevo will be joining me from the Ahafo and Bono regions. Elias Otanko will also be joining me from Bono East. And Rafik Salam will join us from Wa. Let me start with you, Rafik Salam. Rafik, what led to the confusion today? And how many more of the nominees are left for confirmation? Rafik, unmute, kindly unmute for me.
What is happening in the Upper West region was that yesterday the polling assistant Adam Idrisu, third man, earlier during the counting stated that the nominee had 29 vote was rejected, but after a careful scrutiny and also a review of the situation following a protest from the MC, Isakutai movement, what actually happened was that the EC looked through the ballot again and decided that he was qualified, and so he had the 30 votes, and because of that, he was confirmed as for the second time as the MC for the Wa municipality. But also in the Upper West region, we're having 11 municipal and district assemblies. And so as I speak to you now, 5 have been confirmed. And so let me go through yesterday what transpired. We started at Nandom yesterday, where 40-year-old Raymond Nero, who is a teacher at St. John's International School, was confirmed by 35 out of the 36 assembly members. And then also from there, we moved to Lambuse, which is very close to the Nandom municipality. And that was where George Gerald and Naluri was also confirmed by all 36 assembly members. And so from there we came to Wa, and that was where the Rampus issued, but Isakutai movement was confirmed for the second time as a municipal chief executive for Wa. And so today the confirmation is taking place in the Sasala West and Sasala East. And so this morning, Fusene Batong, who is a former regional director of the non-formal education division, the information that I've gleaned on is that he has resigned from that position, but has returned to his mother organization, which is the Ghana Education Service at Tumu. So out of the 31 assembly members, he polled 28 votes. 3 people declined to vote for him. So he's been confirmed as the 4th municipal chief executive in the Upper West region here. And so the fifth one happens to be the first lady whose name came out from the heart in the person of Aisha Baton. Is your name shake? Aisha Baton Hall. She was voted for. She at the assembly they had 31 members and she needed 21, but she was able to pull one more, 22 votes. And so in Upper West region now, 5 have been declared, 5 have been confirmed, and then we are led to go through aspects which will take place. They will go for a break, but on Monday they will start again.
Rafik Salam is our man in the Upper West region. Let me bring in Precious Semeva, who's been monitoring Ahafo and the Bono regions for us. Precious, how has the confirmation been in your area?
All right, so Aisha, let's start from the Ahafo region. 6 districts in all in that newly created region. And out of the 6, 5 of them are expected to continue in their second term of office. Only 1 is a new entrant, that is Sunafo South, where Frank Eduse Puku, fortunately yesterday, he got the not 100% in all at Kukum, where the election took place. So he has been confirmed and endorsed by the assembly members present. Now, all the other 5, Thanos South, where you have Ernest Kwatin, Thanos North, Ernest Kwatin, Thanos South, Collins, Ofinam Techi, Asutifi North, Anthony Mensah, Asutifi South, Robert Jumo Mensah, and Sunafo North, Yao Osei Buahin. They've all been confirmed and completing the 6th confirmation in the Ahafo region. But if you come to the Bono region, where we have 12 districts with 12 nominees by the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, 1 female in the tiny constituency, that is Dr. Lucy Echampon. And a couple of hours ago, she has also been confirmed at in Soko, where she also had 100% endorsement. 51 out of the 51 assembly members all voted for her to start as the MCE, the DCE for the Tyne district. Now, earlier in the day in Banda, where Emmanuel Akone, who happens to be the secretary, the constituency secretary of the NPP in the Banda constituency, he was also confirmed. 15 out of 15, that is another 100% endorsement in the Banda district. The exercise itself started last week, last Tuesday, where in the Sunyani West, Evans Kusi Buadum had a 69% endorsement. 38 out of the 55 assembly members voted yes for him, with 17 of them voting no. In the Brekum West, Dominic Opon also had a 100% endorsement. 15 assembly members all approved his nomination by the president. In Doma West, Francis Kwejo Opon also had 100% endorsement. All 15 assembly members approved his nomination. In the Doma East, Emmanuel Kofi Ajiman, one of the 3 out of the 12 nominees who are going for a second term, and fortunately for him, he had 100% endorsement. 29 out of the 30 assembly members present all endorsed him. In the Brekum East, another veteran going for the second term, Kofi Eje, also had 100% endorsement. 37 out of the 38 members present yesterday endorsed him. And then in the Sunyani East, Kofi Ensu, who is a former presiding member of the Sunyani Municipal Assembly, also happens to be a tutor at Sunyani Secondary School, and then the constituency secretary of the NPP in the Sunyani East constituency. He also had 85.1% endorsement, as 40 out of the 47 assembly members approved his nomination. So by the close of today, what is left for today is in Wenchi, where Alex Odro Jumo will also be going through the process. His confirmation or otherwise should be known by the close of day today. And then hopefully tomorrow, German North, where you have Solomon Owusu, and German South, where you have Andrews Bediakon, are expected to go through the confirmation. And then finally, the third person who is going for a second term in the Doma Central Municipality, Idrissa Ouattara. His confirmation should have taken place on Wednesday, but unfortunately it could not happen. So that has been moved on to next week. where he's expected to get his confirmation. So Aisha, in the Bono region, out of 12, so far it is left with only 4, with one of them expected to be done by the close of day today. 2 will be done tomorrow, Jama North and South, and then Doma Central will take place next week. And then in the Ahafo district or region, all 6 nominees have been confirmed by their respective assembly members.
Precious Semevo has been monitoring Ahafo and Bono regions for us. Let me bring in Elias Tanko, who is with the Bono East. Elias Tanko, what more can you tell us about the confirmation in your region?
Well, the confirmation in my region started yesterday, and the first place is the Bunkurgu district, where the assemblies, the assemblymen endorsed the president nominee. He got 100%. And in that district, we know there have been some chieftaincy disputes. Yesterday, the chief in the area said he was very confident, or is very confident with the president nominee. We expect him to contribute positive towards the peace of the area. So from there, we went to the Unyo district, where the nominee also was able to pull 87%, and he was also confirmed there. And this morning, it happened in the West Mamprosi municipality, where the assembly members also gave the nominee 100% endorsement. And the latest is that, as you can see behind me, what is currently happening behind me is the swearing in of these 3 MMDC that was endorsed, or that have been endorsed by the assembly members. And so as I speak to you now, right now at the Regional Coordinating Council, we are having the swearing in of the 3 nominees here. And on Monday, there will also be the process in East Mamprosi and Cherepone, and also in the Mamprogo Mwadore district. So as I speak to you now, 3 MMDCs or 3 nominees have been confirmed, and they are currently being sworn in at the Regional Coordinating Council in Nalir.
All right, so Elias Tanko there with some updates on the confirmation of President Akufo-Addo's nominees of MMDC East. Martina Bugri is in Tamale in the northern region. Martina, bring us up to speed as to how the exercise has been so far. Martina Bugri is in Tamale. She'll join us. All right.
It's been peaceful in the northern region. Across the northern region, we have had 10 confirmations done so far, and I must say that it's generally been peaceful. Yesterday was the big one. That's the Tamale Metro Assembly did their confirmation. It started around 9 o'clock, but we had to wait for the regional minister, who was in a RESEC meeting because of the impasse between NETCO and some residents in the area. And so that took a while. They finally did the confirmation around 3 p.m. And I must say that he got 68%. That's 40%. 40 of the assembly members voted for the MC, while 17 voted no. We had 2 rejects, and he was confirmed. He was sworn in. He pledged to work with all the political parties and all stakeholders to ensure that the region, or the Tamale Metropolis, is developed. He called on all to eschew political difference and personal interest and work in the interests of the party. And so the northern region, so far, we have had 10 confirmations done. It continues today, and hopefully we are hoping that by Monday, the rest would have been done.
How many more left?
We are left with 5 in the northern region to go.
All right, Martina Bugri from Tamale for us. Let's head straight to the Shanti region. Nanayo Jima gave us an update yesterday, but today there is more. Nanayo Jima, what more can you tell us? All right, so we lost Nanayo Jima there, but we've been scooping around the country and getting updates on how the MMDCs nominated by President Akufo-Addo, is faring with confirmation with assembly members. We went to the Upper West region and spoke with Rafiq Salam, and we spoke with Precious Semevo, who monitor the Ahafo region for us. Elias Sanko is in the Northeast region. He brought us up to speed as to what is happening there. And Martina Bugari told us about the Northern region. We'll take a break on the polls. But before we go on that break, local government analyst Dr. Richard Fiadomo is meanwhile raising concerns over the involvement of regional ministers in the confirmation process. He says this is what has accounted for violence in some areas. He spoke on News Desk on the JoyNews channel.
The way the regional ministers are going about this whole thing, it is what is created. They virtually usurp the powers of the presiding members. All the places that we have been and seen, it is not the presiding members who set the date. It is the regional ministers who set the date and gave the timetable to them, because according to them, they are the ones who are supposed to oversee the nomination process. And we strongly disagree with that. It is the Electoral Commission that can be there. And if the Electoral Commission is not there, then the meeting or the voting cannot take place. But apart from the Electoral Commission officials, voting can take place with or without the presence of any political appointee or regional minister. So yes, I agree with you that they are usurping their powers. And you see, this particular government has taken a posture to get MMDCs elected. So they are interfering with the process so much so that it will give us the opportunity to say that we should go and vote on partisan basis. Because clearly, the regional minister taking away the powers of the presiding members is not the best. And now they will turn around and say that is why they want MMDCs elected on partisan basis. You don't allow the system to run. You create impediments in the way of the system. The system does not work well, and then you make a U-turn and come and tell Ghanaians that is why we want elections done on partisan basis. But we think that everything has been deliberate from day one. The delay in nominating MMDCs was deliberate, and then powers taken away from presiding members not call for special meetings is also deliberate, especially coming from regional ministers. So we agree with you when we say that the powers of the assembly is being usurped, especially by the regional ministers across the country.
With the Kintampo Government Hospital currently one of the health centers attending to severe COVID-19 cases, the facility was under heavy pressure as the demand for medical oxygen was on the rise. As a result, the Kintampo Health Research Center, as part of the institution's 25th anniversary, established an oxygen bank to curb the incessant shortage of the essential medical components. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Koma-Boajing, says the unit would go a long way to aid healthcare delivery in the area. Correspondent Anna Savit has more in the following report.
The Kintampo Municipal Hospital is the main health facility serving both the Kintampo North and South constituencies. The facility, with over 100 beds, serves hundreds of patients, including COVID-19 intensive cases, as the cases in the region surged higher over the past few months. With all its efforts in supporting healthcare delivery in the area, the facility had one major challenge, and that has to do with accessing adequate supplies of oxygen. Acting Medical Superintendent of the Kintampo Municipal Hospital, Dr. Fadlu Rahman Kwesin, says the absence of an oxygen plant was hindering healthcare delivery at the facility.
Over the years, oxygen supply, which is very vital for certain conditions and survival of clients, taking care of them, has been a challenge. I think they used to have just about 15 cylinders, which was woefully inadequate. And mind you, with the coming in of the COVID, we know it's a respiratory problem, and they consume oxygen in large quantities. Okay, and previously when the COVID situation started, we were managing just mild cases, and so we didn't have to put them on admission, and they may not need oxygen. But when we started managing severe cases, we realized that this facility, if it had not been there, wouldn't have had good outcome.
The Kintampo Health Research Center, through the support of the Ghana Commercial Bank as part of the institution's 25th anniversary, established an oxygen bank to support the facility. Dr. Kweku Opoku Asante is the director at the Kintampo Health Research Center.
Today we inaugurated an oxygen bank that was supported by the Kintampo Health Research Center of the Ghana Health Service and then the GCB Bank. This was an initiative of our institution, the Kintampo Health Research Center. At the time, we turned 25 years of age. At that time and now, we thought that it was important for us to raise funds to support the Kintampo area for the support they have given to the building of this institution and to its establishment and maintenance. And so that was one of the ways that we thought would help. This is the first of its kind in the hospital, and we are very excited about it.
He adds that the move is to ensure that the facility's challenge of having fewer oxygens for patients on admission is addressed.
The bank works such that you are assured of having oxygen available all the time. And so the challenge at the time was we were having oxygen tanks single by single, and then it was difficult to manage. This is a much easier system, and it's internationally recognized.
Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, was thankful to the donors and asked that the unit would go a long way to aid healthcare in the area.
The GCB and the research center's support for the Kintampo Hospital for oxygen tank is a welcome idea because of COVID. One of the most important commodities in tackling COVID is oxygen, and so providing oxygen anywhere is very important. We want to thank them for not just restricting themselves to their core mandate, but also ensuring that the people in Kintampo, in the Furamata region, are healthy and also get the best of care.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Kintampo.
We'll take a break on the pulse. We are back shortly. Welcome back to the Pulse. The rest of our stories. Unemployment in Ghana is a growing challenge. Despite interventions by several governments, the youth are still battling what seems to be an unending struggle for jobs. The Partnership for African Social and Governance Research, a Kenyan-based research organization, is conducting a study on the youth in Ghana to establish the causes of their inability to gain employment. The group organized a stakeholder meeting on Thursday. Judith Awotretando was there for JoyNews.
According to the Ghana Living Standards Survey, Ghana currently faces a youth unemployment rate of 12.6% with a 49.2% rate of youth underemployment. Although the onset of COVID-19 has proven to be a major contributory factor to the increasing rate, it is believed that lack of job search experience is also a reason. The Partnership for African Social and Governance Research, however, is keen on mitigating unemployment in Ghana and Africa as a whole. The organization is conducting a research on the diverse factors accounting for the increased unemployment among the youth. Anthony Mbeyange is Executive Director of the organization.
The project that we are currently running is called Youth Aspiration and Resilience Project. Okay, and this project is run in 7 countries, including Ghana. The other countries include Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda. This project is basically a response. It is funded by MasterCard Foundation, and it is a response towards COVID-19. You know, when COVID came along, it came along with so many challenges, including layoffs, especially for youth, and so on and so forth. And we are using our platform, the Utafiti Research Policy Community. Our philosophy in doing research and policies, we engage the stakeholders. It's a demand-driven approach where we get to hear from the stakeholders. In this case, we are talking about youth. So we need to engage the youth, get to understand their aspirations, the challenges, and what can be done to support them. We also need to engage the relevant institutions, government, private sector, civil societies, who will be able to come together and think about what are the challenges.
At a stakeholders meeting, Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, Pius Hajide, explained that the public sector must be equipped in order to service the private sector, as the private sector handles 92% of the employable population.
The state's capacity to employ doesn't resolve the challenge of unemployment. In our view at the National Youth Authority, we believe that it is to make the public sector effective to be able to service an efficient private sector. So yes, we will continue to recruit the police and doctors and nurses, but that is not a solution to the youth unemployment, because if you are employing just about 8% of the employable population, then you are not where the solution is. It is those that are employing the 92%. But you need an effective public service to public sector to service an efficient private sector.
The organization, through this research, is hoping to propose appropriate solutions to eradicate the challenge. Judith Awachitando, JoyNews.
Ghana is calling on the government to pass the Aged Persons Bill. This call was made in commemoration of the annual International Day for Older Persons under the theme Digital Equity for All Ages. The bill, when passed into law, will integrate the rights and needs of older persons into national policies to focus on three spheres: the older person and development, advancing health and well-being into old age, and ensuring an enabling environment for the elderly. Speaking with JoyNews' director of the center, Professor Mavis Daku-Jeke, explained the reason behind this year's theme and the need for government to expedite the process.
And this year, the theme is on digital equity for all ages. And that is what United Nations has come up with. So we are following in that regard. And the areas that we are emphasizing has to do with ageism and human rights, sustainable development, access and literacy, cybersecurity and ethics, as well as accountability. What we are saying is that over the years, when it comes to digitalization, we think that it is something that younger people do. But we think that since people are aging, it is very important that we include our older persons in everything we do, including digitalization. So we have to find ways and means to bring them on board so that they can access information by using things like phone, computers, and other things that they can use. So once we do that, they are not left behind. That is where society is going, and we think that they need to go with us. As they age, they experience some challenges. Could be physical challenges, cognitive challenges. That makes them frail. Once they are frail, it's difficult for them to move about. If they are not able to move about, it doesn't mean that they cannot communicate. So then, if they are not going everywhere that they used to be, they could communicate using these means. So what is society doing to ensure that they are able to use this digital platforms to engage in communication? And the idea is that the more they do that, it reduces the boredom, it reduces the isolation. So that is what we are preaching, and we are calling on governments to help support that. In terms of passing the bill on the elderly persons, and also helping to ensure that elderly persons can have connectivity in terms of internet, so they can communicate with everybody, so that they feel that they are part of society, so that they age very well in communities that are friendly for them.
Teachers are demanding the removal of regional and national appointees at the school feeding secretariat. They immediately want them to step aside for investigations. The association cites the lack of effective monitoring, failure to engage MMDAs as some of their reasons for calling for their stepping aside. Addressing a section of the media at a news conference, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Association of Caterers, Caroline Abuaje, accused the appointees of engaging in some fraudulent activities, including the payment of some 510 ghost schools to the tune of 12 million Ghana cedis during the 2019 and 2020 academic year.
1. Lack of effective monitoring. Over 9,000 schools participating in the scheme in all parts of the country, and with less than operational staff, monitoring to ensure compliance and integrity has been very difficult exercise. lack of involvement of MMDAs and GES. When school feeding was implemented under the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, GSFP could easily utilize its resources of the MMDAs, both human and material, to prosecute the GSFP agenda. With the shift of GFPS to MMDAs are not forthcoming as before. The absence of MMDA staff at the MMDAs has further aggravated the situation. Delay in payment. The prolonged indebtedness of GSFP to the caterers is also a factor contributing to inefficiency on the part of many caterers. Incompetent and corrupt leadership. This is our greatest concern as caterers. The incompetent and corrupt leadership. The current leadership of the Secretariat has proved to be highly incompetent due to the leakages and mismanagement of funds, victimization and threat. It is very sad to say that caterers receive threats from their zonal and regional coordinators when they voice out their grievances. 3. Payment of ghost schools. Since the first term of 2019-2020, the school feeding has been paying schools which doesn't have feeding program. It is estimated that over 12 million Ghana cedis was paid to 510 schools across the countries which has no feeding example.
She's also calling on government to restructure the school feeding program.
We feel the national coordinator, together with all directors and all political appointees from district to region to the national secretariat, must go for new faces to come. And we still stand. School feeding needs overhauling. The secretariat needs overhauling. Yes. The secretariat needs overhauling. Yes. Caterers are not ready to work with the national coordinator and its subordinates. They must go. Yes. They must go for the betterment of caterers. They must go for the betterment of the ordinary people. Yes. Those who are going to school, because ever since the introduction of school feeding, it has increased enrollment in our basic schools, and it has become part of our educational curriculum.
And before we leave you, let's check out some updates on our COVID situation in the country. And right there on your screen, we have new cases of 140. Active cases now stand at 3,088. We have confirmed cases of 127,482. Recoveries stands at 123,238, and the death toll still over 1,000, which stands at 1,156. You can also see the map there, which has the red circles in there with the Greater Accra still leading the chart, followed by the Ashanti region and the rest. And that's why we part company on the Pulse this afternoon. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates of all the developing stories on there for you. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2-hour stay with you. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Up next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Enjoy the rest of our program.